Hello everybody, Senior Music here. I want to talk about video game gun mechanics today, specifically in Sony and Bend Studios' release, Days Gone. I want to lodge an informal internet complaint with Sony about their mistreatment of the SAF assault rifle, also known as the AK-47 platform and or its AKM variants. I know there's thousands of such videos online talking about AK versus AR, but damn it, I want my turn to be heard on this topic. Now, I'm not a weapons channel, so I'm going to keep things basic and not go too deep down rabbit holes, but I'll give enough pertinent details and examples to be informative. In the game Days Gone, you can easily, and early on, obtain this weapon, the SAF or AKM, which is an AK variant, by clearing bandit camps. The flavor text denotes the gun as a poor condition rifle that has very low damage and stopping power. Since you can never buy it from any vendors in any condition, let alone a better condition, you're soon to be throwing it away in favor of other weapons that unrealistically do more damage and hold more ammunition. How short-sighted and insulting can you get? I mean, fuck you, Sony and Bend, for this crap. The AK-47 is the most widely produced, copied, used, and imitated firearm in the last 80 years. It surpasses every single other weapon system by millions of copies. If you want to pick on some crap guns, how about choosing actual crap guns? Like the Shoshat LMG from World War I France that constantly jammed, the Nambu Type 94 pistol from World War II Japan with the exposed sear spring, or the more recent Arsenal AF 2011A1, which was basically two 1911 pistols welded together that was simply too bulky to shoot. Why did you have to pick on the big bad boogeyman of the gun world? As someone who has IRL experience with the AK-AKM weapon system, I am mildly perturbed by this. I'm about 60 hours into Days Gone, and here's what I want to get into first. From this range in-game, about 20 foot or so across a road, it appears the game devs gave this rifle about a 2 foot MOA spread on full auto, which is utter bullcrap, bollocks, and horse piss. Even in semi-automatic mode, it appears to be about a 6 to 8 MOA based on the reticle coverage on this speed sign at about 20 feet. Size reference for this type of sign online suggests the average size in the United States is 24 inches wide and 36 inches high on US roads. In real life, these weapons have a 6-inch or less MOA, up to about 100 yards in most cases, depending on barrel length, ammo quality, and weapon condition. Granted, full automatic fire will cause your aim to be heavily affected, as is the case with any caliber, save for much smaller rounds. After that, the rounds start to drop off, up to 60 inches at 400 yards, or about 6 feet of drop at the max effective range, which is why the US military is instructed that the range of this weapon is 400 yards, because the round dropping 6 foot over 400 yards means on average it will hit the dirt when you're aiming at the head by that distance. Now also, take this example. How the hell do you expect me to believe that a Thompson submachine gun, which fires 45 ACP pistol ammo in real life, has more stopping power than a 7.62 by 39mm round? For the game's sake, I usually run around with the Chicago Chopper equipped, being as it is the best compromise I can find between accuracy, power, and ammo capacity, but no way in the world should you or I believe that a slow and heavy pistol round has more stopping power than a 7.62 by 39. Now, before any of the full-time gun channels pipe up in the comments, yes, I know barrel length affects velocity and thereby affects energy. Carbines have greater reach and slightly more power up close using pistol calibers because of the longer barrels, but we're talking very few percentage points here. Hell, you get more from cating the barrel on an M4. There are, of course, exceptions to the pistol versus rifle round discussion. The .454 Casull, .460 Smith & Wesson Magnum, .480 Ruger Redhawk, .50 Action Express, and the .500 Magnum pistol rounds will, at close range, match or outperform the 7.62 for stopping power. But only one of these calibers even has a chance to be in the game, being the .50 Action Express, since you can unlock what appears to be a Desert Eagle after you've progressed a ways into the storyline. But even this doesn't line up with fucking reality. If this Deagle is chambered in .50 Action Express, it should have a stopping power on par with the 7.62 up close, but it doesn't. I am guessing that the game devs just went with a constant rather than a dynamic coefficient for ammunition performance, since it's much simpler to code that way. Not everyone can be as try-hard as PUBG or Tarkov when it comes to ballistics. and I get that since Days Gone does have a massive storyline and dozens of characters to work with. However, there's clearly some favoritism going on, with both the Thompson and the .45 ACP round being American favorites. The .45 ACP and the Colt Browning M1905 and later 1911 pistol being designed by John Browning, and also the John T. Thompson submachine gun being designed at the end of World War I in America. While I've never had the pleasure of firing a Thompson submachine gun, I have fired both 1911 handguns and AK platform weapons in real life. There's good reason why the AK weapons platform is so popular. Availability of ammunition and parts, the overall price of the weapon system, simplicity of design, ease of maintenance, and ruggedness to a degree. Every single revolutionary army since the late 1940s has used these weapons, politics being a big part of the reason for the AK's bad reputation. We're going to get into a bit of history here, so if you're just here for gameplay footage, skip to this timestamp in the video. Okay, still around? Here in the US, we've been brought up to think of the AK platform as the bad guy's gun, but in reality, nearly 80 years later, it's still an effective weapon system for short to medium range combat, putting a large amount of firepower in the hands of an individual. Does the round itself have limitations? Sure it does. It's a heavier load than the 5.56-223 round of the M4AR M16 platform fame, so it drops faster, but it also hits harder within its effective range. It's a contrast between two different schools of thought about a soldier's weapon of choice. For anyone who doesn't know, these are the two rounds fired by these rifles. I'm using snap caps for example. These are inert training rounds, not live ammo, but they are exact size. The US went with the Eugene Stoner designed Armalite rifle Model 15 and its variants, commonly referred to as the AR-15, then becoming officially designated the M16 during the Vietnam conflict in the 1960s, and later on it became the M4 platform. This was a high-tech weapon system first designed in the 1950s out of composite materials like Bakelite, aluminum, and some steel parts, making the rifle much lighter than the AK's wood and steel construction. The AR's round is effective out to 600 yards range by most accounts. The 5.56-223 round is smaller, lighter, and higher velocity than the 7.62 round, meaning a soldier can carry more ammunition for less weight. A solid and effective technique, but the lower weight of the projectile means it's less impactful over short distances. The AK platform was first deployed in 1947, designed by World War II tank mechanic Mikhail Kalashnikov, and hence the term AK-47. I'm probably butchering this, but Automat Kalashnikova or Automatic Kalashnikov Model 47. The man never received formal compensation for the design that has been copied by hundreds of countries, reproduced and manufactured on 5 continents, licensed and made by nearly every industrialized nation for 80 years, and seen service in peace, war, and everything in between. Kalashnikov did win a Hero of the Soviet Union award for his contributions, and there is an actual Kalashnikov museum in, however you say this place, which is a city in the Ural Mountains of Russia, which hosts around 10,000 visitors a month on average, according to the internet. I don't subscribe to the belief of the AK platform rifles as junk, trash, garbage. If I had to choose to survive the zombie apocalypse, I would rather have an AK than an Armalite variant any day. Both the AR and AK platforms will, at short range, knock someone down. However, with about 400 more foot-pounds of energy up close, I'll take the AK round for stopping power. I will also choose the AK for its solid piston gas return system and not the more easily fouled AR's gas return tube. Also, you want to fix an AK? Fine. You need a screwdriver, a hammer, flashlight if it's dark, and 2 minutes or less. You want to fix an Armalite rifle? You're going to need a 27-piece screwdriver, punch, and chisel set, a portable workbench, a couple kinds of springs, 4 or 5 pins, and a hell of a lot of time. The AK platform does come in many flavors, being copied with great precision, great quantity, and/or great swiftness. Variations come out of milled, forged, or stamped parts. The variety of variants is staggering, and most of the time when trying to shop for these weapons, you're going to have to be cautious about which company you pick to purchase from. This may be the overall reason why the game devs did the SAF rifle this way in Days Gone, but I feel like it was a bit much downplaying of the importance of this platform for my liking. Okay, back to the game. Having made my point about how the AK is treated in this title, I figured I would just show some gameplay and let's talk about the game in general. I've had a lot of fun in Days Gone, playing through just over 60 hours before even thinking about recording, so that should tell you the game is indeed fun and indeed challenging at times. I've had to repeat some missions many times, had to give up and come back later, and sometimes I'm fortunate or smart the first time and get it done in one go. Other times it's fetch Quest City, run here, go there, travel around the map to get the 3 or 5 whatevers, or go find this one thing at that one place that's totally not guarded by bandits and mini hordes. There's some missions that give you good rewards, others give you next to nothing. There's a moral choice system baked into the camps, depending on which ones you favor and support the most. Sadly, the least desirable camp to me had the weapons I wanted the most in the first part of the storyline, and I could never finish enough missions to get that elusive Trust Tier 3. So for cutting through hordes of the undead, I have found that the Chicago Chopper, paired with the RPD and the SMP-9, gives me the firepower I need to get the job done. You go through a ton of ammo, and I'll be damned if I'm going after hordes with an M14, a shotgun, and a 9mm pistol. You do eventually find some good melee weapons, and the 5-tier skill tree system is divided between melee, ranged, and survival, so you can tweak your build however you wish. Gas consumption, while apparently scaled to the map size, is rather unrealistic as well. When a 2-kilometer trip over mostly level terrain takes over a US gallon of fuel on a motorcycle, I call bullcrap. I can extrapolate this was done to favor the map size in relative proportions, but fuel is a huge limiting factor in early game. This nearly disappears once you have your end-game fuel tanks on the bike, but I would have preferred they would have just given you a little more to work with. Even with the smallest fuel tank on a motorcycle, in real life is about 1.5 gallons on a 50cc motorcycle according to the internet, but you start with a level 1 fuel tank which is just at or under 1 gallon, and finish with tier 4 tanks which are about 2.25 US gallons as best I can figure out, judging by fast travel distance and fuel percentage remaining. And also, as a licensed ham radio enthusiast myself, how the f does Sony expect me to believe that post-apocalyptic Oregon has working repeaters every couple of miles when there is no power until 20 or 30 hours into the storyline? Throughout the entire game, you're talking to far-flung locations, individuals, government agencies on analog communication lines with tiny-ass rubber duck antenna trail radio, and also that one found government radio that also has a rubber duck antenna. Granted, there is a CB unit mounted on your motorcycle, and there are radio towers around the map, but there's not an antenna on your bike. I mean, come on, Sony, you're a technology company, act like it. The fact that the radio is not an item you have to repair, recharge, lose, and find ever just speaks to convenience to me. The storyline is pretty in-depth, but lots of it wouldn't be possible without your trusty walkie-talkie. And come on, make me work to talk to areas, make me have to find parts or upgrades for the radio, make me find bigger batteries, have to tinker with it, make me fix a camp's base station or something to give me some immersion in this one area. Sony went very far to make some parts of this game accurate, and other parts feel fluffed off. But I suppose that was a marketing decision between getting the title ready and not overloading the players with so much minutiae as to make nobody want to play it. The fact is, even if you're on a 2-meter band handheld radio with repeater towers, you are not going to be able to talk through mountains unless the repeater is on top of the mountains, and that tiny little handheld is pushing at least 15 watts of output, which no civilian accessible handheld radio that I have ever found does. I own a pair of 8-watt handheld ham radios, which are technically above FCC limits for handhelds, and I can vouch that they do work at that output level, as I have been able to raise repeaters 10 miles away while in a city. But that's not after the apocalypse when everything should be shut down. Hell, you need 25 watts and a Yagi antenna to talk to the ISS with direct line of sight. There is no way in hell the radio that Deacon wears in this game has that output or range. Just saying. Okay, I think I'm done complaining now. And overall, in Days Gone, I do recommend the game. It's got a lot of rich storytelling, much mayhem, camaraderie, fellowship, betrayal, sides that switch, twists, turns, and surprises to keep you going well into the night. If you're into RPG-like survival games based mostly on reality, I say give it a try. Thank you all very much for watching. Senior Musica, out.